See the Rise and Thrive?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, cool. Very cool. Yeah. Well, again, thanks everybody for coming. I have recorded another version of this on it'll be posted as well, but it's just me and during this one, if you've got any questions at all, throw them in the chat or just pipe up and ask them as we go. I really prefer more of a back and forth sort of a thing as opposed to me just sitting up here spouting my mouth off, and I'll try not to take too long. And we'll open it up to Q&A, and the more questions you guys ask, I think the more value it will have for everybody who's not here attending, and maybe we'll watch this as a recording. So definitely, if you've got questions, let's ask away. I think it'll be really valuable for everybody. But welcome to Rise and Thrive. Thank you for coming. This is very exciting. It's something that Paula and I put together just because we really recognize the power of taking control of our mornings and how that's allowed us to take control of our days and just have better days over and over and over again. And it's really led to a better life, allowed us to be more productive, and I think live with a little bit more sanity than maybe we used to. I want to emphasize that this isn't about conforming to a singular routine or a singular, wake up time that's specific to everybody, a singular blueprint that's going to be the same for everybody. It's about customizing something that's going to work for you. And we'll go over all the details of it, but we just want to make this work for you and share the value that we've gained from taking control of our mornings. And I know that a lot of us appreciate the freedom of the morning and waking up and maybe being able to do whatever you want, but it's really amazing how freeing commitment can be. When you wake up in the morning, at least for me, if I don't know what I'm doing, I can feel lost and wander for a while. And when you commit to something, anything really, and you know what direction you're heading and what you're going to do, it's really freeing. So that's a bit ironic, but committing to something, any new habit or something in the morning or any time of day, just committing to things is really freeing. And I challenge you to do that. So we'll move on to the next slide, and the next one, Paul is going to take over. But so this is kind of what we're going to cover. The numbers got messed up. We made this in Canva and put it into PowerPoint, but here we are. So quick intro, and then we'll talk about the problem that I think lots of us face. Maybe not all of us, but all of us are probably here for a particular reason. Maybe it's just so that I'm not talking to myself in this Zoom. And if that's the case, then I appreciate it. But hopefully we can provide some value for you. We're going to go over the task impact matrix, which is a way of prioritizing what you do on a daily basis. Talk about the hero who can solve this problem, the secret solution, the benefits of a morning routine. And it is more than just a morning routine, but the benefits of incorporating the three key elements, which is essentially the blueprint of the morning routine, and how you can prepare for a great morning, because that is really key to this. Mornings can be tough for anybody, even for morning people or people that have turned themselves into a morning person. So how you prepare will affect your consistency. And then we'll talk about automaticity. And that's really about building habits into automatic habits that you don't have to think about. And we have so many in our lives. We do so much unconsciously and subconsciously. Most of it is not programmed by us. And this is how we can learn to program good habits to become automatic for ourselves. And then some of the typical challenges that people face, and then some tips and tricks. And then we'll go over your personalized blueprint and how you can make your own blueprint for a great morning routine. A lot of this stuff, all of it really is in the ebook. We're going to kind of gloss over it and just allow you guys a chance to interact with us and ask questions as well. You'll have access to the webinar and the ebook afterwards, and of course the community to throw questions out too. So Paul, I'll hand it over to you for this one.
Well, thank you for everybody on here. I think I know everyone, and everyone knows Josh and I both, but just for some people on the webinar who might be watching the recording, just going to introduce ourselves quickly. So my name is Paula, obviously married to Josh. We've been together for over 20 years, been married for 15, which seems like a crazy long time, but it's been really great. And we have 4 wonderful kids. The oldest will be 12 in April, so kind of gives you an idea of the age range. And we have a few businesses between us. We won't go too far into that, but basically those businesses have kind of spurred us into the personal development realm. So we have started kind of a growth mindset journey over the last 2-3 years kind of thing, which has caused us to kind of learn and grow in terms of the knowledge that we have gained and the habits that we have been able to implement. And it's really been a game changer in our lives, in our parenting and our parenting style. And now it's kind of like trickled down into our kids. And we've now seen our kids kind of, goal setting and meeting those goals and trying to strive and grow and build new goals. And that's been really, really cool to see. So basically the reason behind this whole challenge and kind of how this came to be was that we, found ourselves in these positions where we were able to achieve goals a little bit faster, a little bit more productivity was coming out of all of this. And really one of my true passions, and I know Josh's as well, is just to add as much value and impact people positively as much as possible. So by creating this challenge, we wanted to share this information with people and be able to hopefully impact you in a small way and be able to help you implement these habits that we have gained so much value out of, so that you can see that value in your life as well. So that's kind of the story behind the challenge, a little bit about us, and Josh is going to go into a little bit more of the specifics.
Yeah. Yeah, you nailed it. And I think that's really the key, and why we're here is we've done a deep dive into just trying to really discover and understand our purpose in our businesses and our purpose personally, and really find a lot of purpose in just creating value for other people. So that's really what we're here today trying to share with you guys. Hopefully you get something out of it. So the problem, I don't think anybody wakes up with the intent to have a bad day, but oftentimes, we're put on the defensive by things that are out of our control. As soon as we get out of bed, and we're just hit by the world, and we are in a reactive state immediately. We get hit by excessive stimulus, whether it's kids and spouse having to take care of them, pets and notifications, your phone's going off like crazy, or turn on the news and it's full of bad news, and it all hits you in the face, and it puts you into a really reactive place and a difficult place to make great decisions from. So the result is, like I said, reactive, emotional decisions. Decision fatigue is a big one. So we've all got willpower. Willpower is a muscle, so it gets stronger with practice for sure, but it also gets overused and gets tired throughout the day. So your ability to make good decisions is much, much stronger in the morning before you've made a bunch of decisions. It sort of rests overnight, and you are much more able to make good decisions in the morning. You have a lot more willpower, and it wanes over the course of the day. So some people are exceptional and maybe retain their willpower. Maybe they've got a life that they just don't have a lot of decisions, or it's very easy throughout the day. And they're able to make good decisions later in the day, and they could incorporate this routine later in the day. I think for the vast majority of people, that would be difficult. We can have a great plan to do it later in the day, but life hits us and our days don't always go according to plan. So if you take care of it first thing in the morning, you take care of the most important things first, which brings us to task prioritization. And that is just a matter of understanding the tasks that are going to move you forward in life personally towards your goals, or just, allow you to get done the things that you want to get done that are important. And the ability to do those things is by making good decisions consistently. So I want to talk about the task impact matrix a little bit. And this is about prioritizing decisions. So this is based on impact and urgency, or leverage and urgency. How much will a task impact your life? How much leverage does it have, and how urgent is it? So AAA tasks, these are like the things that you should do, that you should do, you feel you should do, the things that are going to take you forward. They've got high impact into your life, but rarely do we prioritize them because they aren't urgent, and we're hit with so many things that are urgent on a daily basis. I mean, our days are full of AA tasks. So AA tasks are still high impact, but they're high urgency. So they do take a higher priority over AAA tasks just because of a survival situation. These are the must-dos. The AAAs are the should-dos. The AAs are generally reactive tasks. The AAAs are proactive tasks. So today, I had the most AA day of all days. I had my day planned out, and at 8 o'clock we had our meeting, and I have not done one thing that I had planned during my day except for all the 3 AAA things that I needed to do this morning. So it's really important to get to your AAA tasks. The A tasks, those are sort of your low impact but high urgency tasks, and they feel like they have some impact because they've got some urgency, but I think that urgency is often pretty artificial. So things like answering your phone or text message or checking your email, those things that feel really urgent, and because they're urgent feel important, but they aren't that important. And then B quadrant tasks are your low impact, low urgency tasks. You want to eliminate them entirely if possible. Your A quadrant, limit them or delegate them. Your AA tasks, you need to do them, but the more time you spend in the AAA quadrant, the better able you are equipped to handle your AA tasks and to develop even systems and stuff to reduce your AA tasks. Those B quadrant tasks, it seems to me like when a lot of us throughout the day get our lives, control of our lives back, maybe when the kids go to bed, we're home and things settle down at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. We do have some time to ourselves, but we are exhausted. We don't have the willpower to make good decisions, to do the AAA tasks that we know we should do. So we fall into the B quadrant. We might check our social media or catch up on Yellowstone, although that's over, thank God. And definitely we all spend some time there, and you just need to rest and relax, and that's a place to do it. But you want to limit your time there. It's just not going to move you forward in any meaningful way. So there's no surprise here, and this is maybe just a tough reality to understand, but the hero is you. That's it. There's nobody coming to save you. There's nobody that can come and no time management guru that can schedule your day so that you can get everything done every day. You've got 24 hours in every day, just like everybody else. You really can do with them whatever you'd like. It's your choice. So it's a matter of choosing what you do in any given moment, trading in your time where you use B quadrant tasks for time that you might be more likely to use AAA quadrant tasks. But the hero is you. It's really up to you to decide. Nobody's coming to save you other than yourself. So the secret solution, it's really a lot more than about a morning or about a morning routine. It's about Stephen Covey's, one of his 7 habits of highly effective people. So I'll just read this out. Between stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space lies our freedom and power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our happiness. So the idea behind this is we're all faced with a lot of stimulus during the day. There's no doubt about it. And we are going to respond one way or another. When we have a reactive emotional response, that is coming from, our primitive part of our brain. It really is very animalistic, and you can see it in people when they get overly stressed, how they respond to things. They sometimes act exactly like animals. And the proactive solution is a thinking solution or a thinking response to that stimulus, and that's where we actually engage the neocortex, the prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain that makes us human and sets us aside or sets us apart from the animals. So we really want to do that as much as possible. We want to use that part of our brain. It's what makes us special. And the idea is that you need to create space, as much space as possible, and be able to take advantage of it so that you can make good thinking responses to decisions as much as possible. And in the morning, one of the big impacts of doing this first thing in the morning is that there just simply isn't as much stimulus. So you don't have to work to try and find the space. You are creating the space. And there's a really good book by Ben Hardy. Paul is reading it right now. Willpower Doesn't Work. And it's the idea of just what I said. Willpower alone isn't enough to make consistently great decisions. You have to control your environment. So, that goes for a lot of things, diet, exercise, everything. But it also goes for making these decisions and being able to make proactive decisions. And by getting up in the morning, you are much more able to control your environment. There's less stimulus. Everything is slower moving. It allows you time to think and make good plans and good decisions, good responses to stimulus as the day goes on. So the benefits of getting up in the morning: improve focus for sure. Like I said, it eliminates distractions. A lot of those stimulus just aren't happening first thing in the morning. So that will help you with decision fatigue. Certainly first thing, especially if you've got your morning planned out, you get to start the day off with a win. The compound effect. So I don't know who was the first to say this. I know that I read it from Ben Franklin, but he said that compound interest is man's greatest invention. And he's talking, I think, primarily in a financial sense, but it's really, it counts for us on the human side as well, and our habits and how they compound each other. So, doing good things will lead you to wanting to do more good things, to doing more good things. And that can happen on a daily basis. If you start your day off well, you start your day off with wins, you get done the most important things that you need to do before breakfast, you will find yourself later in the day seeking out more AAA activities when possible, because the feeling of it becomes really addicting. So when we're talking about compound effects, compound interest, or compound effects of habit, the key element there is time. So the earlier you start in your life, the better it's going to be. And the earlier you start in your day, the better it's going to be. You're much better off to make small deposits early on than try and do something, make a great big deposit, in the middle of the day or in the end of the day. And that goes for investing financially as well. This is not financial advice. Disclaimer. So goal achievement, by just carving out time for your AAA activities. A lot of times the activities that you need to take part in are not going to be that urgent to move you towards your goals, not urgent enough to displace a bunch of the AA activities. So by carving out time for AAA activities, you're carving out time to make movement, take steps towards your goals on a daily basis, and steady progress is what will get you where you want to go. Enhance confidence, and this is a big one. By doing this, you start your day with a win every day, and that is awesome for your confidence. You are doing hard things is awesome for your confidence, and sometimes just getting up in the morning is hard enough to really boost your confidence. So it's a great way to start your day, enhance your confidence, and that has compound effects. It'll give you greater emotional resiliency, in particular the mindfulness portion of your morning. When you engage in those activities consistently, you will just have a much better chance of dealing with adversity really well consistently when it inevitably comes up. And increased energy and health, incorporating movement, hydration, exposure to good light in the morning. That's just it's going to increase your energy, your health. You're going to feel better mentally and physically because you're moving your body. And it'll give you a sense of purpose, or really help you pursue your sense of purpose. Again, that kind of goes with goal achievement, but doing important tasks reconnects you with your goals and values. And when you have that quiet time to yourself, you really have an opportunity to think about what's important and pursue that. So there's 3 key elements to this ideal sort of morning routine. And like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the morning, but these are the 3 things that you really want to try and incorporate into your day that can be game changing. So I'll start with the wake up time. And this is not as important, but I think ideally you'd like it between 5 and 5:30. That's pretty early. I think anything that starts with a 5 is good. You just want to be able to plan backwards and make sure you have enough time to get in everything you want. But really, it's about designing your blueprint and knowing how much time you need, and then choosing your wake up time, commensurate to that. But it's probably going to be earlier than you think, but it really is. You can train your body to do that. If you don't think you're a morning person, it's just because you maybe aren't a morning person yet. There's a physiological side of this that is really like training your body. It might hurt a little bit at first. You might have some stiffness, like you would if you started lifting weights, but you will get over it and your body will adjust, and it will you'll be better for it. So, and hydrate and energize and reoxygenate your body. This goes along with the movement part of it. But first thing in the morning, begin your day with a large glass of water. You're dehydrated, like a big glass of water or 2. So lots. If you can get into natural sunlight, that's going to feel great and really energize you. That's hard to do this time of year because there's so much darkness where we're at. But later on in the spring, that's a big deal. If you can get outside in your bare feet, ideally, with natural light first thing, that will re-energize you very quickly. But bright light of any sort in the house even really helps a lot. And then just breathe. There's a lot of different breath work exercises you can do to reoxygenate yourself. And this will help to wake you up and really get you alert quickly. So you can breathe in Deep breath for 4 seconds, hold it for 8 seconds, and exhale for 8 seconds. Do that 10 times. It takes you less than a minute, and it will really do wonders for you. So movement, move first thing in the morning. So you're going to want to do at some point some reasonably a decent amount of exercise, whether it's lifting weights or yoga or running. That's up to you, whatever works for you. But if you don't want to do your exercise routine first thing in the morning, you still need to move first thing. And there's a good reason for this. Cortisol gets a bad rap. It's highest in the morning, and cortisol, it gets a bad rap, but it has a very important part. So it allows our body to produce all of the hormones that we need to energize ourselves very quickly and react to something physically if we need to. And when we wake up, our animal part of our brain wants us to be physically ready to go and take on any challenges that might come our way. That's really handy for waking up so we can embrace the cortisol, but we also want to get rid of it as quickly as possible because our minds don't operate very effectively when our bodies are full of cortisol. So that's where this movement comes in. So I wake up first thing in the morning, grab my water, and head to the treadmill for 5 minutes of walking. And I breathe and walk and drink water on the treadmill. And that just gets me moving and starts to clear out that cortisol. If I don't have a treadmill, I'll just do push-ups until my shoulders burn or do air squats until I'm burning. The idea is get your heart pumping and your blood flowing so that you can clear that cortisol out and allow your mind to work, because that's really the key to the next little bit of your morning routine is allowing your mind to be to work for you in a way that it can't work for you when it's overloaded with stimulus. So mindfulness is next. Meditation, deep breathing, some breath work exercises, gratitude journaling, visualization, affirmations, prayer. They all set a positive tone for the day. Pick and choose, do one for a while, do another one for a while. A lot of it is just about practicing mindfulness. So we'll talk about this a little bit in tips and tricks, but if you've never meditated, I credit it tremendously for what it's done to me just by incorporating a consistent meditation practice, like 10 minutes a day. If you've never done it, it is well worth learning. And the benefits of that are huge, but it's not always, I don't always do the same thing. Certainly. Sometimes it's prayer for a while, or it's affirmations for a while, but there's a lot of things you can do around mindfulness, but that is one section that you want to spend some time on that we don't do. I don't think that is definitely a AAA activity that gets put aside pretty consistently. Journaling is one of those things that's awesome for mindfulness. So I have come to love journaling, and I thought it should be easy. You grab a pencil or a pen and write down on a piece of paper. It took me years. It's taken me a number of years to just be able to sit down and write for 10 minutes a day without feeling like a goofball. And sometimes I feel like a goofball anyways, but there's lots of methods. Gratitude journaling, write down 3 things you're grateful for and why. Write down your goals and why they are your goals. One thing that I really like doing is writing a letter to my future self. So you basically get to create your own future, which is really important, because anytime anything is created, it's created 3 times. It's created first in your mind. That'll be with some visualization. Then it's created on paper. That's your plan or your strategy. And then you can create it in real life. But if you're maybe concerned about this challenge and your ability to complete it in 66 days, write a letter to yourself for 67 days from now, congratulating yourself on how well you did on the challenge, and detail how you got through the challenge and some of the things that the challenges that you faced and how you overcame them. Really amazing when you do that. And that's really fun. And you can create whatever future you want for yourself on paper. And if it doesn't come to fruition, you just crumple it up and throw it away, and nobody has to ever know that you did it. I've definitely been there. So you can have a lot of fun with journaling. It doesn't have to be all about just, writing down super profound ideas all the time. And then the final one is learning. So many options for this now: podcasts, audiobooks, real books, paper books. I prefer, an audiobook or a paper book's even better. A little bit every day, just because I think you go at a slower pace and you are allowed to ruminate on what you're consuming, on that knowledge you're consuming. I think podcasts often come with a spin, and you go by them so fast, often listening to them in 1.5x. you're not really able to, ruminate or process on the information that you're taking in the way that would be ideal. But you can combine these things. You could put an audiobook on in your headphones while you're working out for 20 minutes and then do a little bit of mindfulness, and your morning routine is done pretty quickly if you want it to be. So there's lots of ways to make it work. I'm going to start working out. I was going to start this morning working out first thing before I did my journaling, but then I remembered I can't do my upper body workouts because I can't write afterwards. My arms are shaking. So I had to journal beforehand, but I'm always kind of switching it up. I'm just trying to make sure I am always incorporating all three elements into my morning.
So Josh, I was just gonna say I have like a little story to go along with that slide. But it was probably about 8 months ago. I just love stories, and I think it helps people learn and retain information better. So anyways, about 8 months ago, I was just in like a total funk, and I am the first to say I am not a morning person. I am not a writer, and I had never meditated ever. So anyways, moving along, I was just in a really reactive state all the time. We've got 4 kids. Like I said, I finally felt like I deserved to be able to sleep in, because newborn stages, toddler stages, you're just always awake. And so I was like, this is my time to sleep in. So I would sleep in, and I would be reactive the instant I was woken up by some kid. So we homeschool our kids as well. So my kids are home all day. And so I was immediately starting my day in a reactive mode, like he explained. And so he gave me this challenge. Essentially, it was like what we're doing in this Rise and Thrive. Didn't have that fancy name then, but he basically said to me, if you can meditate for 10 minutes a day, breath work you can do, journaling, do some sort of learning, reading podcasts, and then some sort of like 10 minutes worth of movement. And if you can do that for a month and tell me that you don't feel better, then you can go back to sleeping in. So I did it. And since I had never meditated before, I downloaded the Calm app, which is in your resources in the ebook. And there's a 30-day challenge that you can do for free. And I learned how to meditate and like trained my brain how to be calm and introspective, and learned how to actually meditate. And it made a massive difference in the way that I went throughout my day. And just like he was saying, to have those wins first thing in the morning before your kids wake up or before your work starts or whatever that looks like for you, was huge for me, and will be huge for you as well, because you're not going through your day in that reactive state and constantly thinking about, oh, I need to work out, or I need to journal, or I need to read this book or whatever. And I was constantly thinking about those things all throughout the day, and then not ever having accomplished them by the time I put my head on the pillow, because I was so exhausted by 9 o'clock at night. I just wanted to go to bed. So I am living proof that you can actually become a morning person, and you can actually learn to meditate, and you can actually fit all of this stuff in a very short amount of time. It doesn't have to be a 2-hour-long morning routine. It can be done in 15 minutes or whatever it looks like whenever your kids wake up or whenever you have to start work. But it's made a massive difference in my life. And from starting from like scratch, bare bones, I never did any of this stuff before. So I just wanted to throw that in there, because a lot of people say like, oh, it's so easy for you guys to wake up, or it's so easy for you to do that or this. And it's not. It's a trained behavior and a trained habit that's now ingrained into the way that we live our lives, and the way that we set up our day.
Absolutely. Like it says in my note, like it's a practice of meditation. You practice it, and I practice it every day, and I don't know if I'll ever get good at it, but meditation is one of those weird things, and all these mindfulness things, they have sort of a stigma to them. Like, I don't know if it's hippies or some Far Eastern Buddhist monk. That's the type of people that meditate. So I really resisted it for a long time. And when I started, it was incredibly uncomfortable, incredibly uncomfortable, much harder than journaling, physically uncomfortable. It just felt very weird. But as I stayed with it and got better at it, I mean, I've prayed lots, sort of traditional prayers, conversational with God, but I've never felt closer to God than when I learned to meditate. So there's something there. It's very powerful to learn how to do. So thanks, Paula. So this is about preparing the night before. This is absolutely as important as your morning, because when you're getting up early, and that might be a struggle, especially early on, you want to be fully prepared for the morning. So prepare, lay out your clothes, lay out your whatever you're going to move in first thing in the morning, fill your water bottle, have it ready to go, your supplements if you're going to take any first thing in the morning. Get your journal or your book or everything laid out, everything ready to go so that you can just move through it. Control your environment. Don't just rely on your willpower to do this all the time. Control your environment as much as possible. A big thing for nighttime is keep electronics out of your room. Artificial light is really hard. Your phone is such a such a pull. Just remove it. Control your environment. Don't allow yourself to grab it and check it before bed at 8:30, and then it's 10:30 and you're still looking at pictures on Instagram. I've never done that, but I heard it can happen. So just keep the electronics out of your bedroom. I keep them downstairs now, and it's awesome. We've got alarm clocks. We'll talk about the tips and tricks, I guess, but like old school alarm clocks, that does the trick. We've got one that lights up as a sunrise. Don't hit snooze. You snooze and you lose. You start the game, you start the day 0-1, you lose before your feet ever hit the ground. So you snooze and you lose. Don't hit snooze. So if you can't do that, put your alarm clock across the room so you have to get up to shut it off, and then you're up. Little tips and tricks. But the 3-2-1 principle is really key for getting good sleep, because I mean, yeah, we all have to get good sleep. We all need, some people need more, some people need a little bit less, but everybody needs to get rested. So you need to get good sleep. And the key to getting up early in the morning isn't sleeping less. It's generally going to bed earlier. That has been the key to our success. Our whole house shuts down earlier. We eat supper earlier, etc. So 3 hours before bedtime, stop eating. Digestion will stop. It'll affect your circadian rhythms. Can cause indigestion depending on what you had for supper, reflux, blah. I mean, all that stuff makes it just difficult to sleep. So stop eating 3 hours before bedtime. There's lots of other caloric restriction reasons to stop eating 3 hours before bedtime. 2 hours before bedtime, finish work. You need your mind to shut down. So you can't have your mind racing and thinking all about work and then expect your head to hit the sheets and you're going to have a great sleep. And then 1 hour before bedtime, turn off all screens. That means your TV, your phone, everything. Read, play games, talk to the people around you. They're crazy ideas, but it works pretty good. The blue light emitted from screens suppresses the body's production of melatonin. So you can wear blue light glasses if you've stuck on a screen for whatever reason. Wear blue light glasses. A lot of our lights in our house put off blue light. So wearing blue light glasses at night is not a bad idea anyways, at least an hour before bedtime, but just get yourself off the screens. They're so stimulating. We'll talk a little bit about automaticity and building good habits that you're going to make this automatic, because it's going to be a challenge at first. You're going to have to consciously do these things, but it will become automatic before too long. It won't take as long as 66 days, very likely. But my problem always with building habits has been that I've done it based on this old knowledge that it takes 21 days to build a habit. And that nobody seems to know where that came from. Somebody put it out there, got on the internet, and now everybody believes that that's the case. It does seem to take about 21 days to sort of eliminate an old habit, but that does not install the new habit. So there is research done out of the UK that it's about 66 days for a new habit to become automatic or to reach automaticity, where you're going to do it without having to think about it. I think it depends on the habit. It depends on the personality of the person for sure. But 66 days is, if we go that long with a new habit, there's a good chance that it'll become automatic. And I would say in this morning journey, this Rise to Thrive, it'll happen before that. But 66 days is a good commitment. And really, when you think about it, it's I guess a little over a fifth of a year. So if you wanted to install one habit, one life-changing habit, you have time to do 5 per year. That would actually be really incredible if you could install one life-changing habit 5 times a year. Start small or big, just start. So if you're currently wake up at 8 o'clock and you're going to aim to get up at 5:30, I'm a jump with both feet kind of a person. I'm going right to 5:30 and just put up with the pain for a little bit. If you want to go half an hour earlier and do it over the course of a week or two, go for it. It doesn't matter how you do it. Just start. Make it work for you. Accountability for starting a new habit is great. So engaging the community, you guys have already done that by being here, and we'll try and stay engaged in this community. I think that we can talk about lots of stuff. There's a lot of growth-minded people in that community, and I'm looking forward to it. Track your progress. This goes along with tracking your wins. The next tab there, and really important to keep your confidence up. So there's a good app called Habit Tracker. throw it on there, and you get to basically cross off your list when you do it. And I don't know about you, but if you put a list in front of me, it doesn't matter what's on it. I'm going to do it just so I can cross it off. So that's a little tip or trick you can use. Roll with a growth mindset. You may, I've already heard this in the community. I'm not a morning person. And my reply was, you might not know you're not a morning person. You are just a person. You get to choose the rest. And I believe that 100%. So it's just a matter of training yourself. Paula said it. That's the waking up earlier. The physiological part is just a matter of training yourself. The willpower part is a matter of controlling your environment. Be consistent. I would say you want to try and do this 6 out of 7 days. If you want to give yourself 1 day to sleep in and recover, maybe you need to give yourself 2 days. So 5 out of 7 days would be a pretty good place to start. The key is not to miss 2 days in a row. You miss 2 days in a row, you're much less likely to jump back into the habit. But if you can go 5 or 6 days a week, you're going to have a really good chance of building the habit consistently. And take that 1 day or 2 days to get a little extra sleep or sleep in, but choose wisely. So if your Saturday mornings, you plan out your week. If your Saturday morning, you're going to be home and you know the kids are going to be sleeping in, just because you're sleeping in doesn't mean you don't get in your 3 elements. So maybe you sleep in a little bit that day, but you still need to get your 3 elements in. That's the key. So the wake up time is important for controlling your environment so that you can get the 3 elements in, but the 3 elements are really what's going to change your life. So. All right, Paula, you're going to take over the slide, I think, right? And talk about some of these challenges, and then we'll go through some tips and tricks.
Yeah, I think so. So oh, you flipped.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I did. Yeah, there we're back.
My light burnt out of my room, so it must be time to go to bed. Shut my screen off. Anyways, yeah, so challenges, obviously there's lots of them, especially if you're a parent or you're an entrepreneur, or there's a lot of farmer ranchers in this group as well. And there's always stuff that comes up and always things that need to be dealt with. I was a registered nurse prior to stepping away to build my business at home with my kids. And obviously shift work is a huge one. We were talking with Josh's sister, Steph. Her husband, Nathan, is a paramedic, so he works lots of shift work. It's really difficult, obviously, if you're working nights, to come home and do a morning routine right before you go to sleep. That doesn't really make any sense. So usually with these challenges, I always say that you're going to prioritize things that are important to you, right? And so if this is important to you, this challenge, and these 3 elements of your morning, whenever that is, you're going to prioritize them if it's important to you. And so basically what I would say is try and find a time that's going to work the best in those schedule, like the crazy schedule shifts. Travel is another big one. Obviously, if you go, on a plane, you're jet lagged, different time zones, all of those things, you can still make it work. And Josh and I actually have, you kind of prioritize where we stay based on, like, if there's a gym close, or if there's some, way that we can get groceries in our room or something like that, where we have nutrition goals and fitness goals that we want to hit, and we want to be able to implement our morning routine where we are. You can make it work. You just have to plan ahead and prepare a little bit before you go, and just to make sure that you have kind of everything lined up. And I often think if you're not willing to prepare when you're at home, you're not going to do it when you're away either. So I always like to prepare and have things ready at home as well, because kids are all over the place. And obviously with sports schedules, there's busy times of year. Our kids play baseball. So during baseball season, I really have to be prepared with food choices. And obviously my setting up my evenings isn't going to look the same as it does in the winter when my kids aren't going all of the places and I'm not driving them all over the place. So I'm not going to have that kind of evening routine set in stone during that time of year, but I also know that I can wake up early before my kids and get that stuff done. And that's why I think the importance of getting up and doing it in the morning if you can, minus the shift workers, because then it's out of the way and then it's done, right? So you have it all off of your plate. And like Josh said, there's lots of things that you can do to kind of set yourself up. We do a lot of meal prep around here and have stuff ready so that we can stay on track with our nutrition. The alarm clocks that we purchased off Amazon, I can send links to people if you want, but I used to wake up to my cell phone alarm clock, and it's like earth shattering when that thing goes off. You often think it's like something bad is happening, or I did. It just was like jolted me awake, and it was just not not the way that I wanted to be woken up. So these alarm clocks kind of gradually move through phases of light. And then at the end, if you're still not awake, it starts like birds chirping, or they'll make alarm sounds if you want to kind of pick and choose. But they're really inexpensive, and they're great because then you don't have your electronics in your bedroom either. So there's just little things that you can do to kind of set yourself up for success, and like little kind of tips and stuff that we'll share throughout the challenge as well, to be able to help you guys kind of navigate these challenges.
Yeah, I would say, maybe have 2 different mornings or 3. Maybe have your platinum morning routine where you're spending the ideal amount of time on each element, and then have your gold or your silver morning routine that you're going to use when you're traveling or you're on shift work and you wake up at 4 p.m. and you don't have that much time to give. You just need to compress it in, but keep doing the 3 elements. This 66 days is about building the habit. Not every day is going to be super awesome and get max value. But if you build the habit and you just consistently do it, you're going to see the compound effects over time. And traveling and stuff like that, like Paula said, it's just plan for it. You can make a plan. This is not difficult. You can do it literally anywhere. And when she talked about prioritization, it makes me think about like your kids get up early, and yeah, your kids are priority. At some ages, they really are a priority. But on an airplane, when you get on there and they do the demonstration, the flight attendants, and they take the oxygen masks down, they take them down, and the first thing they say is make sure you put it on your kid first, right? Because your kid is more important than you are, and you don't want them to die. And they do that. I forget which airline, but they do that jokingly, because if you do that, then you are likely to pass out, and then you won't be able to take care of your kids. So we a lot of times prioritize our kids. And I mean, my kids are more important than me in my mind, and in my heart of hearts. But if I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of my kids. So put your oxygen mask on first. Take care of yourself first. Do your AAA activities. Be the best you can be for yourself, and then you will be the best you can be for your kids. You'll just be a better parent in all ways. So
I also think too, like, just because you have kids doesn't mean that you can't do these things. And I often would include my kids in my workouts, or I would have, an earbud in my ear while I was taking my young kids for a walk in the stroller, and I would listen to a podcast, or I would listen to an audiobook. Like, you can always do these things kind of in and around your kids. Especially me, like, I spend a ton of time with our kids because I'm home with them all day. So if I need to go and take 5 minutes to like walk around the house, just to like get out of the house and get my movement in, I can do that right at the ages that my kids are. But when your kids are really little, like, you can do squats holding your kid, or you can take them for walks and listen to those things, and include them in it. And I really feel like that's helped our kids in spades, in terms of now what their health and wellness goals, and they know that it's a priority for us, and so they make it a priority for them. Like, our boys are old enough to want to work out and to want to take care of their bodies because they see us doing that, so they realize the importance of doing it for themselves as well. So I think it's just one of those things where it's not going to be perfect, but I think to have progress and learn these things and prioritize them, it's not going to be perfect, but it's something. Right. And so, like you said, having those 3 different levels of what your morning routine is, you can implement those kind of in and around what your schedule is at the time of year, or kind of when you're busiest or when you're not busiest, and, bring your kids along with it. And it's going to be what it is. It might not be perfect most days, but it's going to be something, and you're going to establish that habit by doing that. Progress over perfection. Life's going to happen. It's going to throw you off track. It's not the end of the world. So progress over perfection. So your personalized blueprint, this is where you get to make your personalized blueprint. This is in your ebook, so you can print it off and do this. Kind of three sections to this, 3 steps to it. So the first is the reflection section. You're going to write down the barriers or challenges that you think you're going to come into. So we've got a tool at Kaizen called the Bridge Builder, and it is where we define where we're at, and then we define where we want to be. Our goal, which is for this, is 66 days down the road. That's where we want to get to. And then we will brainstorm the different roadblocks or challenges that are between us and our goal. And then for each roadblock or challenge, we'll brainstorm ideally 3 possible solutions. And oftentimes one of them is going to stick out as the best solution. But when we think about this, the problems and the challenges can be these big monsters in our mind. And then when we take those monsters and we put them on paper, they turn into a few little lines, and they become very small and weak, and we can conquer them
just by thinking our way through them. So this is a pretty, you could skip this section. I would not suggest it. It's very valuable. So then there's your action plan. So in here, I would suggest, like I said, make 2 or 3 different morning routines. So make your platinum morning routine when you get up at your ideal time and you've got lots of time. Make your silver, your gold or your silver routine where you're compressed for time, but you want to get your elements in. So have it written out, have your action plan. When you commit to something and know what you're going to do, it makes it a lot easier to move forward. And then finally is your commitment statement. Pledge to yourself that you're going to stick to your new habit for 66 days and then sign it. I'd like to see everybody absolutely share all of these if you'd like, but put your commitment statement up in the community. I will put mine up there tonight or tomorrow morning. And let's commit to ourselves and commit to each other. More important, definitely committing to yourself and keep your word to yourself than committing to us. That's one of the main pillars of self-esteem, but this is a powerful tool as well. So I love this quote. We often think that people that are really successful are born that way, or they're very special. Oftentimes the special people they're born with exceptional talents don't take advantage of them fully. Life's too easy and they don't learn to have to work or do things consistently, but successful people do ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. This just reminds me of the fact that success is boring. It looks fancy, but the process of success is really boring. And it's just getting up by yourself every morning at 5:30 and doing these things that are really become quite enjoyable. Some days they feel like a chore, but you do them consistently because that is what success looks like. It's not Rolexes and Lamborghinis. It's just doing the consistent little things and getting a little bit better every day. So that wraps it up. Again, thank you all for being here. We'll do some Q&A now. I guess I'll end the slideshow. And if anybody's got questions, fire them off. Not all at once.
I think it's well explained.
Oh, Auntie Diane.
Yes.
Thank you.
Does anybody have anything in particular that they see as a real roadblock that they're not sure that they can get over?
Well, it's not that I don't know if I can get over it, but one of the biggest roadblocks for me will be my wife, and her sleep habits and wake habits are polar opposite to this. She's extremely sleep sensitive. I still got a toddler who gets up multiple times a night, and she bears all of that brunt. And she likes it totally dark in the room, and I always liked it light and blinds open so the sunlight would wake me up. So I will likely have to sleep in the basement for a couple months. So that will be a challenge in some ways. So
I have no excuses.
So, Ty, it sounds like you've identified the challenge, but you've already identified at least one potential solution.
Yeah, that's I guess that's the hammer solution. We'd like to find a scalpel solution if I could, but I don't know if that's possible. The big thing is the alarm, because I'll obviously need one to wake up that way, but that'll wake her up, and so it'll likely have to be.
So a little hack for that, like your watch, your Apple Watch, or I really like my Fitbit. A Fitbit will wake you up. It'll track your sleep cycles, and it will wake you up within half an hour of your wake up time at the ideal part of your sleep cycle. And I lost mine in the field last fall, so I don't have my Fitbit anymore, but that was, I think, quite useful. I think it worked very well. You wake up consistently with less grogginess.
Yeah, good point. I've thought about doing that too, but I've got one, so I need to get a second one because I need to charge it sometime, and I need it during the day because that's how I get phone calls and texts and stuff. I don't often hear or feel my phone, and I need a phone, so I have to have it during the day. So I'll probably have to get a second watch. I use it at night for an alarm to wake me up.
Yeah, I mean, the other option is put your alarm across the room. And when it goes off, you will shoot out of bed as fast as possible so that your wife doesn't wake up and kill you.
Not faster than her.
Okay.
She's fast.
Yeah, good point.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yep.
Just kind of looking, browsing about on the ebook that we downloaded, and it talked about circadian rhythms. I myself don't like wearing, I don't have a watch. I don't really want to wear a watch or technology, but how can we discover kind of our circadian rhythm without like a tracker or a watch? Do you have any suggestions?
I don't know how you could do it without some technology. There are apps on your phone that you can put at your bedside that
Mhm.
will track your circadian rhythms, but that does not fix your problem of trying to avoid technology or keeping your phone out of your room. A ring, it depends on what your aversion to technology is, but the Oura rings, OURA, it's a ring that you wear on your finger and it will track all sorts of body metrics. Whoop does the same thing. So Whoop is not a watch. You wear it as a watch, but it's just a band that tracks health metrics. It'll track your sleep cycles, your circadian rhythms as well. And that's a subscription base. But I don't know how you can do it with getting completely away from technology.
I think you probably could like actually get a sleep study done if you really wanted to like dive right into that, but you would probably be on a wait list for quite some time because it's just like information that you want. But I'm assuming that there must be some clinics around Saskatoon that would offer that. They used to do it in the hospital just more for like breathing and sleep apnea issues or whatever, but they would track like your entire sleep for a couple of nights. You would stay in and then you'd have that report, but yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know
Okay.
how, like, I don't know how valuable that could be. I wouldn't have normal sleep rhythms if I went into the university to
Right.
sleep for a few nights. So
Yeah,
that
it's
seems,
not ideal, but like it's
Mm.
mostly for people that can't breathe in the middle of the night, kind of like sleep apnea, CPAP diagnosis. But yeah, like Nick had that Aura ring. Was it Aura ring or Whoop the other night that he was telling us about, Josh? That it's just a
I think it
band,
would.
it's not a watch or anything, but it obviously tracks something and sends the information to your app. But I thought that was kind of neat. Those are relatively new, right?
And yeah, and the one problem with wearing a watch to bed is, and they do have modes, but there still is a little bit of light there, and that can catch you and wake you up if you're sensitive to it. So one of those rings or the Whoop band might be more beneficial.
Thank you.
Josh, I've got a question. Would you
Yeah.
share with us what your commitment statement looks like or sounds like?
I haven't made it yet. I have it printed off. For me, I've been doing this now for quite a while, and it is completely automatic. I shouldn't say I cannot sleep in. If I happen to stay up late, then I will sleep in a little bit, but I am up early. It's automatic. It's very awkward to me now to sleep in, and I really don't like missing my 3 elements. If I sleep in, I still get them in, and then I feel good for the day. If I don't, it's not the best. So my commitment statement will be basically to support you guys the best that I can and be there every morning, every day if you've got any questions or answers, because this to me is automatic. Now it is definitely my preference. So I will share it though. I'll write it out and I'll post it.
Josh?
Yes.
A comment and a question. First, a comment. If you don't like technology in your bedroom to get you up in the morning, those of you that know me know I read a lot of history, and the Native Americans didn't have alarm clocks, but when they wanted to get up early, they planned their get up time by the amount of water they drank before they went to sleep.
That was you. I was going to bring that up because I had heard it somewhere before from a wise man, and apparently it was you. Now I do remember that. Yeah.
I drink a lot of water right before I go to bed, and I get up quite early naturally. But question I have is, are we all starting on the same day so we can celebrate 66 days at the end together?
Yep. Let's start tomorrow. Tomorrow will be day 1. And we'll put it in the community. First of all, we'll look for some ideas, a few suggestions of charities to donate the money to, but we'll put it in the community. If anybody wants to have another meetup halfway through, we can talk about anything. We can pick another topic and go deeper into that, journaling or mindfulness or something like that. Or we can just get together and chat about it. But yeah, I like that. So tomorrow is the official start date. This is the kickoff party. And then we'll time it out for 66 days. We'll what day will that be? We'll have to figure it out and send out a Zoom or put it on my calendar.
I started today.
Oh, you keener.
You'll be 67
Me
days.
too.
So perfect. How did it go?
Good. I did the stepper that Steffi gave me while I was listening to an audio book to learn about how to win friends and influence people.
Perfect.
And I did meditating, which is the hardest part for me. It is like to sit there
Yeah.
for that long. And I've tried meditating back when I was in university years ago, when it was transcendental meditation. Yeah. And I find that meditating hard, just like I can't be hypnotized. I can't keep focused. So I have to work on that, I guess.
Yeah, you can't yet. That is, doing nothing is like one of the hardest things for a human being to do. When I was really focusing on it, I would be able to basically get to a point where I felt I was thinking about nothing at all. And it was really neat. And then I would recognize that I was doing it and I'd be like, oh, I'm doing it. And then I recognized that I was thinking about doing it and it was like, it's over. So it didn't last very long, but yeah, it is really hard to do. Meditating, learning to meditate is really hard to do. It goes against what we're wired for. So
I was going to say, there are forms of like moving meditations that you could do. I started before I did a sitting meditation with my practice. There's one I was taught, it's called Qigong. And it's sort of like Tai Chi, but you stand and you move while you breathe. And it kind of helped me before I had to sit and meditate. So it's kind of fun to look into if you're interested. Then you're moving as well. So 2 in 1 there.
there you go. Have your ebook in one ear, your meditation in the other ear, and moving. You do it all at once. So I'm on the resources page. I've got it pulled up here right now, and it's worth mentioning again, the Calm app. We'll send it out. I don't know if they have the free 30 days right now.
I think
But
they do. Yeah.
there's a
I'll
course
post
on
it in
there.
Yeah.
There's a course on there to learn to meditate, and Jeff Warren is the guy, and he walks you through what it's all about. And it's a 30-day program. So, or 21 days. I forget what it is. Probably 21 days because he thinks he's installing a new habit in you, but
I think it's a month, and they're like
maybe
6 to 9 minutes long. Like it's not like you have to sit there for 20 minutes and pretend to meditate. Like it actually goes through kind of what you're doing and some different kinds of practices. I just found it really helpful to have something to guide me, because I would try and sit and think about nothing. And then, like Josh said, your like mind wanders off or whatever, and kind of like he teaches you how to bring it back. Like that's not wrong. It's just like part of the practice. You need to learn how to kind of refocus and bring it back. So I'll post it in there because I think they run them kind of all the time. I'm fairly
that's just an ongoing program
Yeah.
you can jump into.
Yeah.
But it's really good. It's well worth your time. And he had a daily trip. So he's got a daily trip, a 10-minute meditation every day. And one of them a little while ago was basically the theme of it was sometimes you meditate and you feel like you've accomplished nothing. And those are the days that you've actually moved forward. It's just that consistency factor. So, but that's definitely a great resource to learn about meditation.
I'll have to try that one. I tried a short one this morning. It was Boho Beautiful Meditation, because it was the shortest one I could find.
Yeah.
It still counts.
Do it. Yeah, that's it. All right. Anybody else have anything that they'd like to share or ask? Okay. Well, let's wrap it up. Right about an hour.
Thank you guys very much.
Yeah. Well, thank you all very much for coming. This has been awesome, and we'll see you in the community. And if you got any questions at all, reach out to us directly. You've got our email and phone number and stuff, and we'll go from there. So good luck to y'all. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks
Bye.
a lot. Yeah. Enjoy.
Bye.